This is Social Realities with Dr. Med. Let's get it poppin'. Now, normally I say get it cracking. So what I'm gonna do is when I'm talking about people who are not black, I'm gonna say we're gonna get it popping, right? If it's about black people, we gotta get it cracking because that means we gotta snap it, get it to work. We gotta fix it, do what we gotta do. But we just gonna get popping. So I am a fan of Southern Charm. Um, just a little more about my background, my academic background. I studied um, Southern history, Southern race and gender and ideologies around the South that have made their way throughout the entire country. A lot of people think that the enslaved period or enslaved era only existed in the South, but the entire country benefited from the enslavement of black people. And that included insurance companies to shipping industries to all types of courier services. And insurance was one of the biggest ones. So I studied Southern history and Southern culture, and I enjoy watching shows like Southern Charm because they are to some extent light and funny. They're usually not overly heavily political, but I did recognize some of those a little strange. Every time they had like one or two black people in the show, it made me nervous. You know what I mean? And not in a get out kind of way, but just like I'm always nervous when they're about to say something and pray to God they don't say no dumb shit or say something inappropriate or racist or crazy. You know what I mean? So it always makes me nervous when there's one or two black people occupying predominantly white spaces for fear of the black people having to be subjected to some bull. But anyway, so in this particular episode, I want to focus on Craig. I've been a fan of Craig since pretty much the beginning. Um, all the men to me are they're reminiscent of the type of males that were part of educational systems where I worked and places where I've worked. They are that there's a type of that type of white male culture. It's very fraternal, rooted in like fraternity life, frat boy kind of athlete, drinking culture, that kind of thing. So I watch it and it's kind of funny sometimes to me, even though it's not funny, but it is kind of funny to watch, when they get drunk and just do stupid stuff. Cause, black people, we may get drunk, but some of this, we ain't doing some of this stuff. Like some of the stuff I done seen white folk do drunk. I ain't never known none of us ever to do nothing like that before. And it's just a different kind of, but it's also a different kind of freedom, because they are white. We can't just, it's not cute if we skinny dip somewhere butt naked in a pool. We going to jail if we don't get tased. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't just run into a store and be drunk and laughing our asses off and dropping shit. Nobody's going to think that's cute. They're going to think we're loitering. So there's a level of freedom that I watch that occurs in these kinds of shows where money's not the challenge, or feeling like you don't fit in isn't a challenge in that particular way because everybody is the same, pretty much of the same culture and background. But what's interesting with Southern Charm is there's also this unspoken thing where everybody doesn't have the same kind of access to wealth. Everybody doesn't have the same kind of educational attainment. Everybody doesn't have the same legacy. But when you're white, if you can pass, you see, white folk pass too. There are lots of people who look like they got money. And because they're white and they went to certain schools, we make assumptions about them. And I'm fascinated in this particular moment with Craig because I think Craig doesn't come from the same kind of money that like Shep and Austen come from. And I think his family's like working people, you know what I mean? They're working class, and they may even be a middle upper class, but it's a different kind of who is that child? Shep's. He got a whole damn he got a whole city named after him, like a city named after his family. So like that's a whole other kind of money. And let's not even go into the fact that it was bequeathed to them by King George. So they were given all of that land. Now it's a city. So that's a different kind. We moving in a different kind of level of wealth, right? So you got just like the other guy was married to the redhead girl. Like it was that distinction as well, like not fitting in because of class. And so in this particular moment, what I feel is happening is as Craig becomes more and more exposed to beyond, you know, his understanding of what it means to be a man in certain spaces, like in southern spaces where it's seersuckers and was it vineyard vines and all that kind of stuff, that kind of typical kind of thing. He's being exposed to more and more things, and I think part of it is also because his girlfriend Paige is from Jersey, and she's truly like she is so, I love her. She's awesome. I love Paige because she's got boss goals. Like since I mean, I don't know how old she is, but it seemed like she's been on reality television since she was like 12. And since she was 12, she always been her own boss. She runs her own stuff. She manages her own shit. She's never allowed a man to just totally just destroy her life and keep her from meeting her goals. And I love that kind of boss up behavior. And so I love Paige. And so I think that's also what Craig finds attractive about her. And I also think they're both come from families that had to work really, really hard for what they have. And so the difference is when you're a part of that culture and you're passing, you don't have the same licenses, or psychologically you don't think you have the same licenses. Like, who in their right mind, if your family worked hard and you're trying to build goals, why would you choose drinking over working? Why would you choose partying all night, not being able to get up and take care of something that needs to be done? Why does that doesn't even make sense to someone who has a different kind of mindset and licensing of what they can do with their time. And so I think that's where the difference comes in. Like Craig is serious because Craig may not have the same cushion, and Craig may not want the same cushion, because I don't know what his background is, but I do detect there's something different about him than some of the other elite whites that are showing up on this show. And I think it's starting to rub, because there's also this level of, and I'm not trying to be funny, and I'm not trying to be real controversial, because I really am trying to, keep a semblance of a job. But there is something about that white fraternal culture that's rooted in like that kind of Ivy rich boy and inherited kind of culture that, you just got all the time in the world to do what the hell you want to do. You know, you can be an F boy till you're 50. You still gonna find a 20-year-old to marry you, and you still gonna have beautiful children, and you still gonna get to travel, you still gonna, but it's something about money and time. If you don't have money, then you don't have time. And so for them, there's a license in being youthful still, and playing with those lines of being like 40 years old and still hanging out and doing that kind of stuff. Now in the black community, we just call you a fuck boy. Okay, as we call you in the black community, you just don't want to grow the fuck up. You're a little fuck boy. You're a little baby boy. You just wanna do what you've been doing since you're 18. But there's something about it that's really rooted in arrested development, and rooted in a trauma. And for some, and I've witnessed this for some especially men, black and white, that I've witnessed, is that college is such a monumental time for them. It is a time in their life when they finally were able to make decisions for themselves, that they are so enamored by how popular they were, or how many people loved them, or how much attention they got, that they don't ever want to move away from that. So they just stay friends with the same people, and they get stuck in the same cycle. And then it takes usually people who aren't in the similar cycle, who don't have that kind of legacy experience, to say, shit, look, I'm too damn old. I gotta work. I got shit to do. I can't be going to work drunk all the time. I can't have no bags over my eye. And they come to this kind of decision. This is who they want to be. And I've watched young white men from elite backgrounds to, first first generation working class, trying to figure this thing out. And so when I watch Southerncharm, it just reminds me of just the youthfulness, and the building of relationships in a way that is more positive than what I've seen in other shows. You know what I mean? Like I've seen in other shows. So anyway, and then I think it's because they are real friends. That's the other thing that makes it authentic. But anyway, back to Craig and his grown man goals. So Craig has grown man goals. Okay, so him and Austin are about to get it. They're about to get into this argument because Austin is like, I'm tired of not seeing you. I don't see you all the time, never around, and Patricia didn't invite him to her birthday dinner because she didn't think he was in town, and he's just staying on his grown man goals. He's just like, okay, well, shit, I got shit to do. You know, I got shit to do. I'm busy. He's like, are you gonna get in the pool or not? Like, we're not gonna keep arguing about who I am because I'm gonna stand on who I am. Like, you're not gonna make me change my mind. And I just love that shit. And I love when he said, yeah, working. I love working. I love working. I love making money. I love effing his girlfriend. He's like, I'm trying to get healthy. I'm trying to have sex with my girlfriend, and I'm trying to work and make money. That's what grown people do. And and in Austin's mind, it's like you're neglecting us because you don't want to still run around in toddler clothes and drunk and falling and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know how much they drink and stuff, because of course all of this is exaggerated. So I'm not saying all that about y'all. So just calm the fuck down, because don't nobody need to be coming for me, because you come for me, baby. You got some problems. But anyway, there is something about that, and I think that first gen or that working class kind of thing is rubbing against that type of whiteness on Southern Charm, and I'm enjoying watching it. And I'm watching the people like Madison, because she kind of straightened her mind, like, why are y'all being so hard on him because he's not wanting to be an F-boy no more? Like, why y'all so mad about it? And I think it's also because of Madison's background. I think she has a background where she's had to work, where she's had real life experiences, and she understands that as much as you may want to hold on to certain times in your life when you're this popular cheerleader or you're this whatever it is, you need to grow up and make boss moves. And so it's fascinating to see that kind of whiteness up against another type of whiteness. And for me, like people like Craig and Paige, and I'm not saying they're like John Brown, and I'm not saying Paige is Susan B. Anthony. I'm not saying Paige is Susan B. Anthony, and I ain't making this no civil rights power kind of thing. But the dynamics around, when I say all of this shit is made up, it's all made up. Whiteness is made up too, and the construction is made up. But the realities of those things that we've decided to agree upon have real life consequences. And all I'm saying is Craig's decisions have a different kind of life consequence if he doesn't have legacy, if he doesn't have property, if he doesn't have heritage. And so he needs to move in a different way, while others who may have may have access to that type of wealth and that type of heritage have more time because they have more money. Okay. Anyway, I think I'm gonna start reviewing Southern Charm though. So I'm watching a few more episodes of this, and let me know what you think. What do y'all think? Do you think I'm just over exaggerating? But you can tell in these shows when people start to do this corner, like make this kind of pivot, like grown folk pivot, and the shit gets old and tired. Like the fighting gets old and tired, the drinking get old and tired, the sleep with a bunch of different people don't know their names and scratching gets tired. All that shit gets tired, and then they decide, you know what? This is more exciting. This is more exciting to be able to pick up and go on a vacation with somebody who I'm gonna be able to have a good time with, and I ain't gotta worry about ending up in a tub of ice with a kidney missing. You know what I'm saying? Like people make these decisions because it's also these kinds of reckless consequences and actions that happen in that particular kind of culture that makes people vulnerable and susceptible to being arrested or other stuff, and especially if you don't have that money and resources. Look at all these MFs in jail now. Look at all these people who thought they had enough money to buy the law, to buy their ability to do what they want to do. And some people have gotten away with it, as we know, and others have not. But this episode was exciting to me. I like Craig, and I want to see him continue to develop. Give me your opinion. What do you think about Southern Charm? And if you haven't seen it, but you've happened to be at my channel, just watch an episode. It's adorable. I like it because I love Southern culture. So there's a Southern culture, and then there's a South, and then there's a dirty South. It's all kinds of stuff. It's something about being in the South that's just, it's like no other place I've ever experienced in my life. So anyway, shout out to the South, and shout out to Craig and Paige. This is Social Realities with Dr. Med. Good day. Didn't take much, but I did a little digging, and it turns out that Craig and Paige are no longer together. It looks like they broke up right before the holidays, according to ET Entertainment Tonight. So, shout out to Paige and Craig. I hope you all are on a journey and a path where you find what it is you're looking for.